Don't engage alone. We do this together.
Yeah! We got it! We got it!
52 booklet.
Somebody clip this one.
Welcome to Comics League Movie Night. Today we are talking about G.I. Joe, The Rise of Cobra. I'm here with Nick from the Phoenix Press. What's up, brother?
You know, Jared, you know what they say? Knowing is half the battle.
Amen to that. So, this was a very interesting movie that that was like my childhood for like the longest time because I've always been like a diehard G.I. Joe fan. So this movie was like, this, Transformers, a lot of those types of movies. So I'm really glad we are covering it this week.
Yeah, I'm not like a big G.I. Joe fan myself. It was a little bit before my time, contrary to what Jared says.
So G.I. Joe was in the caveman times, is what you're telling me?
Yes, and I am a Cro-Magnon, so.
Yeah, understood. But so this movie basically follows this. So we open up on this company called Mars. It's essentially Stark Industries, and it's kind of that. But so then you have well, actually, at first, here's the funny part. It opens up in like ancient Scotland, and no, I kid you not, I thought I walked into Man in the Iron Mask at first.
I mean, it was an Iron Mask.
And there was a man in the mask.
So there was a man who got put in an Iron Mask. It's confirmed.
Okay. So, wait, are you telling me that G.I. Joe is that G.I. Joe's ancestors was actually the Three Musketeers?
Oh God, I should have.
We've linked the universes together.
Oh God.
So
what I love about this movie is it has a very cartoony tone to it, but it kind of works.
It feels like they took the old G.I. Joe cartoons, but made them slightly more mature, but kept the cartoony feel. Slightly. It still feels like a G.I. Joe episode.
This is definitely in the Transformers mold. See, while Transformers and G.I. Joe both try to do the same thing of like take the cartoon tone, play a little straight, be a little more serious, I feel like this film is a lot more successful because they play it a little more straight, whereas Transformers kind of falls into cringy 2000s humor. You know, like stop leaking lubricant on him and like robot balls. Like it kind of leads into that like 2000s edgelord humor that hasn't really aged that well.
More on that next week when we cover Transformers 2007.
I have come.
So then we get to Duke and his teammate Ripcord are supposed to escort this weapons case to like a facility. They get ambushed by Cobra, and Cobra is like laying waste to the U.S. Army. And then the Joes show
Johnny
up.
Lawrence?
What?
Where's Johnny Lawrence?
Johnny Lawrence, I don't understand the...
He said they're getting ambushed by Cobra Kai.
This is another free karate attack that the news is going to be talking about. I swear that is the most cringe, but good cringe, like hilarious thing in that entire show is when they keep saying karate
about
attack.
It on Friday. On the Friday night.
Oh, it's the one thing I will say about it. I love where when we were streaming on Friday Night Frenzy, I asked Chris, you know, it's kind of funny. A karate attack sounds like something that could happen in California.
I mean, I don't know if you heard what happened in Disney. I think it's Disney World, Disneyland. Apparently, like there's this big brawl in Disney recently. So a karate attack might actually have happened in Disneyland.
Yeah. And Tevye says Snake Eyes was his favorite character in the movie. Yeah, Snake Eyes is great.
Fun fact. Do you know who played Snake Eyes in this movie?
Kenobi.
Do-do.
Yep, Darth Maul. By the way,
it was played by Ryan. Crap, I had his name on something Park. Ray Park.
Ray Park.
By,
oh, so Toad from the X-Men. Wait, so the X-Men are also in the G.I. Joe universe.
Okay, this is a tangent. So you know that one scene in X-Men where Toad does like that flourish with his staff? That's meant to be an homage to his role as Darth Maul.
Okay, I see. That's great. Now, so here's a little fun fact about this. After leaked drafts of the script were criticized by fans, Larry Hama, writer of the comic book series G.I. Joe Real American Hero, and he's still doing it, which is great, was hired as a creative consultant and rewrites were made. So they actually hired someone that understood the characters.
Well, the difference is this.
Wait, Nick. Remember when they actually hired people that cared about the IP?
Well, the difference being is the person directing it. This was directed by Stephen Sommers, who you may well know for doing the first two Brendan Fraser mummies, Van Helsing. Say what you will about the director, but he clearly cares about what he's the source material he's doing. I think Stephen Sommers is probably one of the more underrated directors of our modern era.
Oh yeah,
and this feels like a Stephen Sommers film.
Yeah, and Tevia's bringing up. So Nick, did you ever see the Snake Eyes movie?
This is actually the only G.I. Joe movie I've ever seen.
Don't watch the Snake Eyes movie. The second one is pretty good. Don't watch the Snake Eyes movie.
Oh, you mean the one with where Black Adam and the failed Wonder Woman are co-starring?
No. That's G.I. Joe Retaliation. That's actually good. They made a Snake Eyes movie, and that's the one where they made a big stink about casting an Asian to play Snake Eyes because apparently only Asian people can know karate, according to these people.
And is the Snake Eyes movie supposed to be in like the movie universe?
They kind of. I don't know, because here's why that doesn't work, because Snake Eyes as a kid in the Snake Eyes movie looks different than the Snake Eyes in this one.
Exactly.
But at the end of the Snake Eyes movie, he's in the Snake Eyes suit from G.I. Joe 2. So it's really confusing.
Yeah.
But it's stupid.
Can I just say the guy that got to play Storm Shadow was a freaking beast?
Yep. He killed it as Storm Shadow.
Literally,
yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, but this film was very well cast. I do have to give a shout out to the head of Mars, McCullum, who's played by a former doctor. My favorite doctor, Chris.
So you're telling me Doctor Who is in the G.I. Joe universe?
Oh, it gets even better. Did you know he also played a dark elf in a dark world?
This is a Marvel crossover too?
Oh, I'm loving this stream so much.
Yes, exactly. And we also have Sienna Miller playing the Baroness, which I really like.
Very well.
Wait, so the lady that played Scarlet also played the female lead in Conan the Barbarian, so apparently Conan is canon to this.
I mean, also you got to realize we also have Magic Mike as literally.
So before he joined the military, Duke worked at a strip club, is what you're telling me.
Also, the other thing is after the so you know how in the second movie, like how Duke got killed in the first 15 minutes, he didn't actually get killed. He secretly got recruited by a secret agency called the Statesman.
Oh, and by the way, they were going to apparently if there was going to be
we just tied this into Kingsman.
Yeah, apparently. Duke, what would have happened if they had gotten another movie is that they would have brought Duke back.
Well, they kind of did for like 5 minutes.
No, but I mean, they wouldn't have killed him. It would have been like in the original G.I. Joe movie where they killed Duke. They stabbed him through the chest with like a spear, and then they're like, "Oh, he's just going into a coma."
Yeah, I mean, this film is kind of is literally an origin story for G.I. Joe. I like the way it ends, where it's like, "You are now Destro," and Destro's like, "I'm okay with this."
And he's like, "You will call me Commander," and I'm like, "Okay, I see."
Can we just give it Also, we can tie this into the Nolan films because, after he inherited all of Wayne's fortunes, he decided, you know what, I'm going to join the military to get some training.
Well, not only that, you know who else is in G.I. Joe? Brendan Fraser. So apparently the Mummy's canon as well.
No. He is the grandson of Brendan Fraser's character, or grandson or great grandson, because it takes place in modern times.
And what you don't know, do you know why Snake Eyes wears a mask the whole time? It's because he's actually Darth Maul. That silence is all I need.
Also, Jared, we also get to tie this into your favorite film of all time. Damian Wayans is in this movie. Do you know what other film he was in? Was he the one
that was in Blank Man?
He is Blank Man. He is Blank Man.
Hang on.
He's like, I had to verify that.
No, hang on, because
literally Blank Man is in this movie, Jared. I ruined it for you.
No, you didn't. That's a different Wayans.
I don't care. I reject.
Marlon Wayans is in this one. Damon Wayans is in the other one. What you can say though is this is also a sequel, also a tie into Batman because Marlon Wayans was supposed to play Robin.
All right.
That silence is all I need. There you go.
But also the guy who plays the chief. What's his name? Kevin Costner. Is that his name?
Dennis Quaid. No.
Dennis Quaid. So
you didn't know Dennis Quaid's name?
Frick off.
Did you call him Kevin Costner?
I've been under a lot of stress today.
By the way,
Dennis Quaid, so many movies we connected with.
Remember the dude from Wonder Woman that wanted to be an actor but was like on Steve's team, Sammy? Yeah, he's in this too, so it ties into Wonder Woman.
Which one?
Man, this is like a multiverse, like a colliding movie.
Could you say it's a multiverse of madness?
Way better than the Doctor Strange movie. But so basically, I like how Duke basically like almost blackmails his way onto the team. He goes, "No, I'm in. I'm coming with you." And then they go, and they go, "No," but he goes, "But yes." And then they have him like try out. We have a training montage.
Also, the guy who's like the whistling, that's Imhotep from the Mummy films.
The guy
also who like takes like the different forms.
Oh, you mean Zartan?
Also, the president is Qyburn from Game of Thrones,
and he's also Elizabeth Swan's father from Pirates of the Caribbean. There's so much so many universes.
No. Actually, no. The Elizabeth Swan's father ended up playing the High Sparrow on Game of Thrones, so you're close.
Whatever. So
nerd.
So I like the little tryout scene. I also like when they show off clear inspiration from Iron Man because they're like, "Look at our Delta 6 accelerator suits." What's accelerate?
What does it accelerate?
You. It's basically Iron Man armor, and they're like, "Let's bring in some Marvel." So in a way,
I like how they're doing product placement for their own toys. Like, oh, it's a Night Raven. Oh my god, it's the greatest thing ever.
Yeah, I know. Well, because you know that G.I. Joe is like He-Man. They basically just sell the toys.
I don't know. Like, I feel like this film really does incorporate the catchphrases. Like, oh, this dude's a real American hero. Like that. Like, here's the thing I like about it. That is totally something a character like that would say in that moment. So it's actually like it's perfectly natural dialogue, but of course it's a phrase. But like, and the Dennis Quaid was like, knowing is half the battle. Like, you can just tell Dennis Quaid was like, oh, I have to say the line.
Yeah, and the thing is about the military. Here's the thing: oftentimes when Hollywood adapts like special operations guys, they kind of portray them as somewhat douchey. So, but they didn't in this one, so I was very appreciative of that because that would have been annoying.
Yeah, Duke's character he doesn't really act like a lot of the other characters he plays. Like, he's very on business, on point, very like, I do my job kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. I did like when they're doing the whole training thing, and then Duke is like the top scorer, and then Hawk goes and Ripcord, if we average your scores with Dukes, you'd pass too.
Yeah, and the other thing I like is obviously he has a hot for Scarlet, but I feel like they actually kind of give time for that romance to develop, where it's like, or if she starts to okay, I could like. It doesn't kind of come out of nowhere. Well, like you can start to see like, oh, if you start to see him differently, for me, it's like the aftermath of the pit attack, where he kind of helps clean her up a little bit. I feel like he kind of starts to see him a little bit differently in that one. So it progresses a lot more naturally than you see in different movies. Like, you can tell Steven Summers wrote this because Steven Summers actually does romance in his action movies pretty well.
Yeah, exactly. So it'd pretty much be a lot. So continuing on, it's like, yeah, because if a lesser writer were writing it, or if it was being written today, they would just have him fall in love almost immediately and say, I don't understand my feelings for you.
Oh, will you please rip my cord? That's millennial writing.
That's the Joss Whedon line of writing, and I know.
Or the Joss Whedon inspired writing. Also, you need. Why did you say that name? You did it to yourself, brother.
I know. So then, it's revealed that Duke has history with the Baroness, and it's like they used to be engaged. But after the Baroness's brother Rex, apparently Star Wars is in this now, was injured in combat.
I mean, a good soldier follows orders.
Yeah, it was killed in combat. So I do this for a very specific reason. So he just effed off and left because he couldn't face her. By the way, Giggle says, based on the cartoon, I tried to explain this to another G.I. Joe fan. They did crazier things in the cartoon, and live action movie should be no exception. Yeah, exactly. So that's why I'm like, yeah, I really don't care about like the suits being like super cartoony, because this movie, here's the thing. This movie did not necessarily try and say this is a 100% grounded military movie. No.
See, my thing is, it was believable enough. Like, there's certain things where, like, just the way the movie presents it, everything seemed plausible enough. Like, okay, I at least understand how the stuff works. Like, they're nanobots, and they eat through things. Like, okay, I can understand that. Does it exist? No. Can it exist? Probably not. But I understand how it works, and it seems plausible enough.
Well, not only that, with like the Iron Man suits they obviously have. The thing about that is that for years the military has been trying to develop an exoskeleton, and it makes sense that like a unit as well funded as the Joes would have that
Jared,
like
I feel
idea.
like the comments just got a little bit hotter.
And JJheat, you have the link, so go ahead and hop in. So because for Frank, that's yeah, but the romance between Baroness and Duke. Why? If the story's good, it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
but it's like it's the idea where they went far enough that it feels like a G.I. Joe movie, but they held themselves back, so it didn't stop. So in other words, you could understand, to Nick's point, conceivably this could happen in the real world.
And there's another thing. The movie very much plays everything straight. See, one thing I think a lot of writers don't understand is there's this temptation where you have something ridiculous where you need the characters themselves to think it's ridiculous. If the characters themselves are looking at something and said it's ridiculous, the audience is going to be more inclined to think it's also ridiculous. So it's kind of opposite of conventional wisdom. So this is my writing advice to you guys, this stream. If if the characters believe in the world, there's a better chance your audience will too. And I think that's because that makes this movie work is the characters, they don't question anything about the universe. It's not like, oh, that's ridiculous. Like, oh my God. Like, no, they like, oh, cool. Let's do it, you know?
Well, it's also when he's being brought into the pit, Duke goes, I've been in the military my entire life, but I've never seen anything like this.
He doesn't believe it, but it's more just he's surprised. Like,
yeah,
holy crap, this is amazing.
Yeah, so it's like, okay, I can buy that you have all this really high-tech stuff. So they go to France, because those like warheads are those nanomite warheads. So they're going to France because they have like a particle accelerator thing that's going to arm the warheads. So they go there, and then Duke and Ripcord are in the suits. Snake Eyes just runs after them because he's Snake Eyes, and then Scarlet hops on a motorcycle. We get this awesome like high-speed chase, particularly in the suits. But see, the funny part about it is that they're just firing rockets at like a moving car, and it's like these rockets aren't killing anyone else. It's kind of odd.
Yeah, like for me, I keep kind of zoning in on the characters, and I think like the characters are over the top, but at least they're entertaining. So this is the thing the film does. Are they ridiculous? Are they cheesy? Are they over the top? Yes. Yes to all three. But they're entertaining, but they have enough character. Like, one of my favorite moments is the chase in Paris, where it's like, Storm Shadow, he gave, Snake Eyes, he gave up, and Storm Shadow's like, wait a minute, I know my brother. One thing he doesn't do, like, there's kind of like a little bit of respect there, and I just dig it.
I'm glad you brought that up, because here's the one BS moment. The truck gets hit by a train, and conveniently, Baroness and Snake and Storm Shadow, not super soldiers at all, survive.
Well, I will say as far as Baroness, she's hopped up on nanobots, so I can give her some explanation.
But Storm Shadow,
ninja, because
the way that truck like flies there and smacks down and flips.
Yeah. Ninja, he's a ninja. That's my explanation.
And they run. There's like a ground chase, and Snake. And I find it also odd that Storm Shadow kicks Ripcord's ass, even though Ripcord is in those accelerator suits that's supposed to make you hit harder and move faster.
Ninja.
That's gonna be the new because he's Batman, isn't it?
I mean, Batman's a ninja, so.
Oh, that's true though. I never realized that. But
no. Okay, no. My actual explanation is, strength and skill can only, like, pure strength can only get you so far. Ripcord at the end of the day is not a hand-to-hand fighter. Storm Shadow is literally one of the strongest hand-to-hand fighters in the world, and I can totally believe that a fighter on Storm Shadow's level can compensate for the increased strength because he has agility. Because agility and skill beat strength every day. Take the knees.
Yeah. Giggle says, I mean, it's flawed. It's a flawed movie, but it's still more coherent than today's. Crunch.
Exactly.
That is true. That's why it's always been like a fun movie because, there's plenty of things to pick apart in this, but it's
kind of falls
entertaining.
into guilty pleasure territory.
And for the most part, CGI is pretty solid.
Like, is it flawed? Yes. I think this movie kind of falls into like guilty pleasure because it's a lot of fun. It's coherent enough. The characters are likable. They have a little bit of a backstory. Like, it's I wouldn't say it's a turn your brain off movie, but it's more of just a turn the movie on, have fun, move on. Like, maybe you revisit it every couple of years kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. So Cobra captures Duke and brings him to their polar ice base.
Nanobots.
Yeah, so their plan is to turn Duke into like a, what was it called again? It was like a
You're going to become a Cobra.
To a Viper or something like that. So
you're going to be a Viper. You'll feel nothing. So I'm actually doing a really good impression right now.
Yeah, I like that. It's like your Batman. So then
like Batman.
Yeah, so then the Joes are like shut down, but then the commander goes, okay, I said you've been ordered back to base. I didn't say what route you take. And they go, how about a northern one?
And this is what I love about the movie is, like, Dennis Quaid's character, he's like the kind of boss that you'd want, like.
Yeah, so their plan is Breaker, Scarlet, and Storm, and I almost said Storm Shadow. Snake Eyes go into the base to to find Duke and disarm the warheads if they can, while the other Joes hop in submarines and have like what amounts to a Top Gun style battle in water.
See,
which is cool.
What I love about the movie. The movie is very much like I could just imagine a kid like playing out these battles on like a living room floor. And
Tevia, Dennis Quaid plays General Hawk, the commanding officer of the G.I. Joes. So then we get this. So it's a cool like
Hawk wanted to retire to his Field of Dreams.
Yeah, so it's a action-packed Top Gun like a fight scene, and then here's the moment they walk. Snake Eyes and the crew walk into the hangar, and then Scarlet goes, "Oh, that's a Night Raven. It's the most advanced plane ever built."
Toy commercial.
Yeah, I know. I wonder how many Night Raven toys were sold from that movie. Probably a lot.
I mean, to be fair, the original cartoon was essentially a toy commercial, so
that was He-Man and Transformers too. All those '80s cartoons were that.
Yeah, so I'm not really like that upset about it.
Me neither. So they launched the rocket. So Ripcord hops in the jet to pursue them.
He's jet qualified, remember?
And here's the thing. I was about to say, and he somehow can catch up to rockets, but it's a super advanced jet, as they said before. So I'm like, okay, I can buy that. I can buy that.
Remember, Jared. Sahin.
Yeah. No, I know that, but I'm saying the cartoon was used to sell those toys. I know the toys came first.
To be fair, the history of G.I. Joe is pretty interesting because like they're essentially male Barbies in the
Yep.
60s. The G.I. Joe that we know of didn't really appear until the 80s when Marvel Comics pretty much revamped the lore into what it is now.
This is the one of the few times Marvel actually improved something by changing it.
Well, back in the 80s, Marvel actually had like a lore service. Like Marvel is actually low-key really responsible for a lot of like the Transformers and
Star
a lot
Wars.
of other franchises.
I mean, the first Star Wars comic, I think, came out before Episode 4 came out.
Yeah, and Marvel actually did have a huge run of Marvel comics back during that era.
Mm-hmm. So then, so again, it's a super advanced jet. So you know what? I'm fine with it being able to catch up and shoot down rockets. That works because you've already established in the lore that this is a super jet. Yeah. So then we discover that the Doctor, who we thought was Mindbender the whole time, turns out it's Rex, first off, who will later become Cobra Commander.
No. The Doctor is McCullen. Oh, sorry.
No. Old man moment.
I thought you said we're referring to like the Doctor Who, so I thought you were referring to Chris.
No. The Doctor in the movie. They refer to him as Doctor in the movie.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt is the actor's name.
So Nightwing. So then
Robin.
So Robin. You know it's so Robin Blake. That just sounds so stupid, Nolan. So then
John Robin Blake.
No, but they said, why don't you use your real name? Robin. So his name is not John.
So it's Robin Jonathan Blake.
Still, Robin Blake. It doesn't work.
I mean, he can call himself Robin Thicke.
Oh yeah. So yes, this is where we learn what happened. So Dr. Mindbender was a character. He died when they actually did not say he died, because what they say is that they did say that they escaped when Rex was recounting the whole thing. He's somewhere. We just don't know where he is. But the point is, up until this point, we thought he was Mindbender. That's the key point I want to say there, which I honestly think this was a pretty decent twist. Oops, there's my old man moment. It's all good. Giggles, we all have them. But yeah. So, Nick, what did you think of this twist that it was her brother the whole time and that he turned out to be Cobra Commander?
I thought it was pretty cool. I think they kind of did it a little bit too early. Like basically they kind of revealed it right before the third act. I thought it would have been a good last minute twist kind of thing, where like he takes off the mask, reveals himself, and then becomes Cobra Commander. I mean it's fine, but they also do kind of they signpost it. Like you can guess it if you look closely.
Yeah, if you're paying attention to it. So essentially then the Baroness frees Duke because she's having like mind flashes of like
what power of love.
The power of love. So then they clearly set up who's going to become Destro, because Destro fires I'm going to call him that from now on, fires a flamethrower at Duke. Duke uses one of Baroness's sonic pistols and knocks the fire back, horribly burning him. You kind of broadcasting what happens there. By the way, I actually know you haven't seen movie too, so I'm not going to.
I love it how it's like, I'm going to heal you, but what doesn't kill you? Only makes you scarier. I love how McCullen's like, it's I'm finally a McCullen. Like he's like, I'm okay with this.
But I do like how he repeats Bender's words where he goes, this will only hurt a little bit. What happens next? More so. I love that. That's great. So we get essentially, again, a high-speed chase underwater with Duke and the Baroness going after Cobra Commander and Destro. This movie is basically turns into Fast and the Furious in the third act.
Family.
But then we get. So what'd you think of the?
Duke only lives his life a quarter mile at a time.
So what'd you think of the? What was I gonna say? From the Snake Eyes Storm Shadow duel, where it's like flashing back to them as kids.
I thought it was pretty good. Like I said, there's a good enough kind of backstory there. The final fight was great. I love how it's like, you know what? I spent 7 months getting this body. Where's the oil? I'm gonna show it off. Like,
now here's the
dude
thing.
Clearly trained hard, and he wanted to show everyone to see, like, look how hard I worked for this body, for this film.
Yeah. Now, if you watch G.I. Joe Retaliation, which is the sequel to this, they go even more into the backstory of what happened between Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow. So it's really cool if you want to check that out.
All right.
So, they also do like a kind of funny thing that's like alluding to Duke leading the G.I. Joes. Like when they finally corner Cobra Commander, Duke goes, prepare to be boarded. Yeah, you and what army? My army. And the G.I. Joes just show up.
It's such a cheesy thing, but I don't care.
I like it. This is good cheese. This is good cheese.
This is the finest cheese you could ask for.
And obviously the Cobra base is destroyed. Storm Shadow kind of dies. I say kind of because movie 2 kind of undermines that, but still. Ninja. I know.
Use ninja swimming techniques.
Because he's Batman, but he also fell into frozen water, so he used ninja body warming techniques.
So he's a bender now too.
He goes, I am the fire. I am the fire.
I wonder if they've ever done a G.I. Joe Justice League crossover. You have Storm Shadow versus Batman.
They did do a Justice League Transformers crossover. Oh, and by the way,
I would love to see like Storm Shadow versus Batman, because I feel like Batman would probably win, but it would be a really tough fight for him.
I would love to see a Deathstroke versus Storm Shadow battle.
I think Storm Shadow might win.
But Storm Shadow does not have the healing factor.
But Storm Shadow's really. But here's the thing: Storm Shadow, he can like he can fight to kill, so that gives him a bit of an edge.
So does Deathstroke.
But Storm Shadow is Storm Shadow.
Not if you cut off his head, because his head's not growing back.
Well,
Anyway,
fine, he'll cut off Deathstroke's head first.
Anyway, so continuing on, let's see what else. So then we get but by the way, so if this were an Avatar: The Last Airbender movie, does that mean that Storm Shadow will be teaming up with Ero?
Silence. All right, guys, I'm going.
Yeah, but anyway, continuing on, I had to.
So much.
I had to. So then it's like, so we cut to like a hospital ship, and they tell them, okay, so she has all these nanobots inside her. It's gonna take time, but we'll take them out. And then they do the whole "I'll always love you" and "I'm not giving up on you." Again, cheesy but really cool.
5 minutes later, Scarlett's like, oh, Duke, let me introduce you to my sister Natalie. Scarlett, a redhead, introduces her sister Natalie.
Johansson, whatever. So then,
by the way, my headcanon is Scarlett is a former Black Widow assassin. That the G.I. Joe.
If it works with Marvel, sure. But so then speaking of that scene, speaking of the cheese, but you know what? I love where it cuts to them walk in slow motion. The ripcord goes, "Damn, we look good."
That's what's commonly referred to as lampshading, but it works so well.
You know what's hilarious? Here's the thing about this movie. It's very, very, very self-aware. And that's why I think we like it. Yeah, in a good way. That's why I think we like it. The problem is
a lot of movies that try to be self-aware, they kind of do like the wink to the camera. It's like, hey, yeah, we know this is ridiculous. We're in on the joke too. And it just kind of kills the immersion. Like, they're aware, but they still play it straight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that really works, and I really dig that. And then it's indicated, and this was set up early in the movie, that Zartan is impersonating the president of the United States, and they'll play more on that in movie 2. So, all in all, pretty solid action, military, vaguely sci-fi movie. So now let's do a little bit of Q&A about the G.I. Joe movie.
I love that Stephen Summer gave Brendan Fraser a can't, because by this time Brendan Fraser was kind of on his way out with Hollywood. But I did like that he gave him a cameo, because Stephen Summers was kind of like Brendan Fraser was kind of Stephen Summers' guy. I like that.
So Tevye says, question: how much did this movie make? This movie,
I think it did okay.
The budget was 175 million, and it made 302.5 million. So pretty good for the budget.
For the time. Like, for the time, that's not bad.
Because this was before it was like established that a movie has to make $1 billion for it to be a success.
Well, the other thing is, movies' marketing budgets weren't as insane as they are now. Okay, like they weren't spending nearly as much money. Also, expectations were a lot lower. Like, what did this come out, like 2009, 2010 or something?
2009. So
we weren't expecting, like, we didn't have, like, a movie has to make $1 billion, otherwise it's a failure, you know, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Which, by the way, can we just drop that mindset? I know the late...
Yeah, it's really stupid. It's really stupid.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Nick.
No, you go.
Yeah. So Tevye says, question: why did critics hate this movie and bash it to hell? So I'm going to actually the critical reception portion. So it says here, Paramount decided not to screen the film for print critics before its release and wanted to focus on internet critics. On Rotten Tomatoes, the movie has a 33%. And they say, while fans of the Hasbro toy franchise may revel in a bit of nostalgia, G.I. Joe, the Rise of Cobra is largely a cartoonish, over-the-top action fest propelled by silly writing, inconsistent visual effects, and merely passable performances. What do you think, Nick?
Yeah, sounds about right. Maybe a little bit too hard for my taste, but overall accurate.
Yeah, but if they're saying it was a little too cartoonish, that's what the movie was marketing itself as. You can't complain about that. I don't agree with.
Yeah, it was very clearly cartoonish, but that was kind of the point.
Yeah, on Metacritic, the film has a weighted average score of 32 out of 100 based on 25 critics, getting a general unfavorable reviews. One of the many complaints made by fans was that the film did not relate to the G.I. Joe franchise. G4 TV stated that the studio actually went out of its way to butcher the G.I. Joe mythos in favor of derivative storytelling devices. They cited the Baroness, who was changed from an Eastern European noble in the comics to Duke's brainwashed ex-girlfriend. I can understand that criticism.
Okay.
Because she's not in any way romantically involved with Duke in the comics, if I remember correctly. So,
I mean, it's a change, yeah, and I can understand being upset by it. See, I come at this as a non-G.I. Joe fan. So I'm just judging this as a movie, okay? That's my perspective here. I'm not really much of a G.I. Joe fan. Like, it's just not my thing, all right? I don't hate it. I don't love it. It's really, like, G.I. Joe's not my thing.
Yeah.
So I'm coming at this movie as I'm enjoying it as it is. I'm judging it on its own merits. Yeah. Adaptation, I really doesn't matter to me. So from that angle, I like the romance between Duke and Baroness.
Me too, and I know the lore, so I'm just like, okay, that's fine. I mean, it's a change, yeah, but for the sake of the story, it works. Do I wish they made her Eastern European to fit with the character? Yes. Dave says, do you prefer this or the sequel? That's a good question. I kind of prefer the sequel more because it went a little bit more. It grounded it a little more, but also went a little bit more into the cartoony area, and it made it more of a conspiracy movie. So I kind of like that.
Yeah, like I'll just kind of finish off this portion of the conversation by saying, I understand other people's perspective. I understand why they get upset with the change, but I'm just more explaining my perspective and why it doesn't really matter to me. Yeah, I'm not saying I don't care about it. It's more why it doesn't matter to me. So I'm trying to be fair here.
Yeah, we got Dan Jolin of Empire Magazine commented that it was Bond without the style and Team America without the
style. Did they even watch the movie?
No, the answer is no. The Daily Telegraph reviewer said the taint of crudiness extends everywhere in this joyless stinker.
You can tell these people. See, okay, here's the thing. This movie is clearly in the shadow of the Transformers films. The only movie this film even got made is because the Transformers movies were highly popular, and this film is kind of within the same mold. It has a very similar like feel, look, tone. It feels like a child of those movies. Okay.
Yeah.
It has and here's the thing about the Transformers movies. Critics hated the Transformers movies, but they all made bucket loads of cash. So I think a lot of the critics were applying their hatred to Transformers. Like when they saw this, they thought, "Oh, it's just another one of those like kids' toys movies."
Well, yeah, on that, I think it's also a little bit of jealousy because, or like they feel threatened because now all of a sudden, because these movies are making such billions of dollars, critics' opinions aren't mattering as much to studios anymore. Because,
oh my God! Thank God that never happened again. Thank God that
yeah, I know. Thank God it didn't happen with the DC brand, but
no. Yeah, it's like some things never really change. You know, it's like basically people, when it comes to critics, if it's not your nostalgia, it's bad nostalgia. Because, like, remember in the 2010s, like, this hatred of 90s nostalgia? And now we're kind of, and there's, like, this hatred of, like, cringy 2000 nostalgia, but now we're kind of see 2000 nostalgia start to, like, solidify itself.
Yeah.
It's just a march of time. Like, there will be a time when fidget spinners... remember fidget spinners? Remember how cool they were? Like that will happen, guys.
There'll be a fidget spinner movie.
I would not be surprised. And by the way, in 10 to 15 years, fidget spinners will make a comeback for like a summer.
Well, even on that note, Nick, I think the opinion. I'm going to link this to James Gunn's Superman because why not? The argument that I've seen is that this movie does not need to make a lot of money. It just has to be well loved by critics and fans. But I'm like, no.
Like, I'm sorry, they're in a business to make money.
Yeah.
And it's like, yes, there are films that failed on release, but you want to know here's the secret about those films: they were saved by the video release, whether it be VHS or DVD.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, Jared, have you watched the Hot Ones interview with Matt Damon?
No,
where he
not
explains
yet.
all that. Okay, you need to go see it because it explains the current state of media so perfectly. Because a lot of films could bomb at the box office, but then let's say they were like a hit at the rentals or the DVD sales through the roof. You could have a film take 10 years to become a classic, and like Hocus Pocus bombed at the box office. And now it's like one of the quintessential Halloween movies.
Or it's like when you take into account Batman versus Superman, which didn't bomb at all, but it also got like a butt ton of like DVD sales.
Yeah, or It's a Wonderful Life. Literally, for like 40 years, nobody cared about the movie. But because it was cheap to license on TV, got showed on TV a lot. Or Wizard of Oz. Wizard of Oz really didn't get popular till the 50s. Because The Wizard of Oz kind of underperformed at the box office in 1939. It wasn't until the 50s, like almost 15 years later, when they started to really show it on TV, that it developed its audience.
And Tavia, I can answer you right now, where's your Dread sequel? The movie didn't perform well enough for them to greenlight a sequel because the budget was 30 to 45 million and it made 41 million.
Okay. That's a perfect example. Sorry, you gave me the perfect argument against the gun fans. Okay?
Yeah, go ahead.
Look at Dread. It is a movie that is beloved by fans and critics, okay? Anyone who sees it raves about it. People point to it as a perfect like comic book adaptation. Like a really, really good adaptation. An amazing movie. It is like highly beloved.
Yeah.
It did okay at the box office. Like it did, like middling numbers. They've been trying to get like a sequel going. Like there was that Mega City 1 TV show that was supposed to happen. They've been trying to get something going, but nothing has been able to get off the ground because the film didn't really do that good at the box office. Personally, I think the marketing kind of destroyed it, but wasn't marketed well enough. But that's neither here nor there. The point is, Dread is a film that anyone who has seen it loves it. So it has the critics and fans love it tag that the James Gunn fans are trying to point to this movie. And it still is having trouble. So this Superman film does badly. It doesn't matter if every person on the planet loves it. If they don't go to see the movie, They're not getting another one.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what people don't realize, because even Zaslav himself has said many times this is show business. And if the business portion is not working, because let me put you this way, he's doing this whole reboot under the assumption that this reboot would essentially lead to more money for DC. If it doesn't lead to more, and here's the thing about Zaslav, he's the type that wants immediate results. If you don't get immediate results, he's going to pull the plug. Is that fair to Gunn? Maybe not. But that's just the way Warner Brothers works.
Well, the thing is, if this was like 10, 20 years ago, where they were just going to make a Superman film and maybe do a trilogy, then yeah, I could see not as much pressure. But the thing is, this is supposed to be a franchise starter. This is supposed to be the Iron Man of DC. This is supposed to start literally like a 10, 15-year franchise of movies. And if this doesn't roar out of the gate successful, it's Dazlov's going to be like, all right, because remember, he canceled Batgirl. Like, I believe Batgirl to him wasn't worth the marketing cost. It's like, because like the film would have cost like what, $100 million to make. He didn't want to spend the extra 50 to 100 million to market it and maybe make 300, 400 million.
Mm-hmm.
I think Batgirl probably would have been a $500 million movie tops.
I think it would have been. It would have done better than what Warner Brothers thought it would. But yeah, I agree with you on that.
Like 4 to 500 million is my estimate. Probably lower. Like maybe even as low as 300 million. But I think 300 million is probably the best number. Where it's like it barely made back its marketing budget, and then somewhere it's like, and so Zaslav doesn't want to spend that money to barely make back your budget.
Yeah. So on that point, it's like, I've seen Chuck Dixon compare starting the DCU to releasing a disco album in the 80s.
Oh God. I mean, people need to realize superheroes are out, video game adaptations are in.
Yeah. That's the other issue, is because when you have movies like Mario making $1 billion, Sonic doing like ridiculously well, you're gonna, to Nick's point, the time when this could have worked is like at least maybe around the time of Endgame. That would have been the perfect time for DC to start relaunching stuff, but they didn't, and they waited because honestly, here's what killed the hype for superhero movies, because when Marvel stopped producing movies that everyone liked, that's when people started turning off of superhero movies, I think.
It's also that, and Marvel really, they really overloaded. Because before Endgame, it's like, all right, so to watch Endgame, I had to watch like 15 movies.
Mm-hmm.
That's long, but it's doable. Like, okay, we'll make this like a couple week long project. But for just Phase 5 alone, I have to watch like 4 or 5 different series, each that are 8 in and of themselves, 8 hours long. So essentially 2 movies each. It just became too much for people. And then on top of that, because like if it's one, because the thing with the MCU is like, okay, I have to get through Ant-Man to get to the next one. Okay, that's a 2 hours.
That's believable.
Fine, we can do that. But then it's like I have to get through 8 hours of She-Hulk to understand, it's like,
and that would try the patience of many a man to have to watch She-Hulk.
Yeah.
But yeah, you make a good point, because like, let me put it this way, you're not gonna, if you see a movie like Iron Man 3, you're gonna at least assume you gotta watch Iron Man's 2 and 1 in order to understand that movie, and that's believable, and that's 100% doable. But when you factor in all this other crap, particularly when Gunn says he's factoring in movies and gaming, you're coming out of the barn, if you will. I forgot the terminology. I got it. You're coming out of the gate saying there's a lot of crap you got to keep in touch with. Are people really going to do that?
See, Dave, to answer your question of Deadpool and Wolverine, based off of what I've seen from the trailers, I think it's just going to be like, we're at the TVA. We're not going to mention the events of Loki. We're just at the TVA. I think it's more of like if you watch Loki, some stuff, like you'll get Easter eggs. But it's not going to be like a multiverse of madness where you have to watch WandaVision to understand multiverse of madness.
No, I think what they'll do is they'll reference, oh, remember what happened with Loki? Anyway, continuing on with the plot of this movie. There you go. That's done.
Or like they're showing Avengers footage and you see Loki like, oh hey, whatever happened to that guy? Oh, he's our boss now. And and he's like, what? Oh, moving on now.
Yeah, exactly. There's no way that like that. See, they can't completely ignore it because the TVA was very tied to Loki, but they're not. I guarantee you, they're not going to get
you
that
also
crazy.
have the thing of like they could just simply set this before the events of Loki. Where
True.
It hasn't
There's
happened
any
yet.
number of ways they could do this. I don't think they're going to do it before the events of at least season 1 because season 1 is when the multiverse started. And they kind of have to keep the multiverse because remember Wolverine is from another Earth. So is Deadpool.
Like, multiverse exists, they just keep pruning timelines. But there's also the thing of like there's dimensions and there's timelines. That's the other thing you got to realize.
More confusing.
Exactly. I mean, yeah, timelines. That just sounds like extra dimensions with extra steps.
Yeah, Dave says, how well do you think? I'm assuming
$1 billion, at least $1 billion.
Yeah. I'm going to say that because, yeah, exactly. Oh, and he says, dude, even with the WandaVision, terrible. There are issues with understanding Multiverse of Madness, terrible writing. Yes, that's true. Because two giggles, they straight up contradict WandaVision. And I'm like, what?
If you're talking about Wanda, like, turning into a villain, you got to realize she's been reading the Darkhold for, like, 6 months to a year at that point. It ended with her reading the Darkhold. So you want to say it corrupted her, then sure, I can buy that. Because that's how WandaVision ended. I don't know.
And Tavi says, question, speaking of G.I. Joe, that reminds me, any opinion on G.I. Joe and Transformers crossover movie? Because the new G.I. Joe movie that's coming out is going to be a crossover with Transformers because they teased that at the end of Rise of the Beasts.
I have no strong opinions either way whatsoever. That's my opinion.
Yeah, it's like, okay,
I'm not really much of a Transformers guy. I mean, I like Beast Wars. That's about it. Like I said, classic Transformers was before my time. I am a Beast Wars fan.
Which was even before, which, it's kind of funny. It took place many, many millennia before the original cartoon. So, of course, you'd be a fan of that.
Before and after, really, because, there's timeline shenanigans.
Yeah, okay, you know what? I can actually use this clip again. Where is it? Yes, here we go.
Time travel!
Because you got to realize, in Beast Wars, they actually find the original bodies of Optimus and Megatron.
But they're so much taller. So I'm like, what?
And they absorb their sparks. I love how Optimus's spark just here, Optimus, take my spark. Whereas Megatron literally forces the merge with the other Megatron spark. Character.
That was cool. And Dave says, all those Disney Plus shows was the first time I thought the MCU rise just fell off hard. Yeah, exactly. I predict around the same as the first 2 Deadpool movies. I'll be pleasantly surprised if it hits $1 billion.
Well, here's the thing. Deadpool is the one movie that I can confidently say has at least the potential to make $1 billion.
Yeah, because you also have Hugh Jackman returning as Wolverine, which is close enough. Hype. Yeah, it's close enough. It's not like when they brought Keaton back for The Flash, because there's not as big of a generational gap between the last time he played Wolverine. People still remember Logan.
But the other thing is, Keaton is kind of not very essential to the plot of The Flash, if you really think about it. Yeah. Whereas this is literally Deadpool and Wolverine. Wolverine is getting second top billing. They are equal to this movie. Mm-hmm. This is just as much a Wolverine movie as a Deadpool movie. Showing a respect to a character like Wolverine. And the other thing is, as much as the Marvel stands don't want to admit it, there's a lot of love for the Fox universe. I grew up on the Fox films. So for me, seeing all these characters come back, it hits the member berries. Seeing Sabretooth, seeing Pyro, seeing all these characters that I grew up with, that makes me happy. If I swear, if Nick Cage shows up as Ghost Rider, I'm going to be very happy.
That's going to be really cool. Dave says, I'm not so sure it could hit $1 billion because it's hard for any movie to do that. I agree with Nick. It has the potential. It has more potential than is a guaranteed hit. I get that, and I'll go with that. I'll go with that. So I think it's a good place to wrap this up. So, Nick, how do you rate this movie out of 10, G.I. Joe?
8.25. I was gonna give an 8.5, but I've kind of downranking it because it is very much a guilty pleasure movie. It is a great like guilty pleasure movie. I wouldn't say it's to turn your brain off, but more just like have fun.
Yeah, with me, I give it like the same ranking because it's one of those turn your brain off, eat popcorn, and just enjoy a fun action movie. It's no Zack Snyder's Justice League, and that's my obligatory Zack Snyder reference. There you go. I have to make it every stream.
All right.
Beast Machines, the sequel to Beast Wars, kind of sucked.
Yeah, I never really watched Beast Machines. Like I saw a few episodes, never got into it. So
they merge flesh and machine, and you have to be of a meditative mind in order to transform.
That sounds so stupid.
And then the way you transform is you say, I am transformed.
Oh, God. Oh,
That's
God,
all.
that
It's basically yoga Transformers is what it is. But I'm just like, now I hate this.
Waspinator! Terrorize!
Yeah, that sounds way better, right? Here you go.
Oh, God.
And they kind of they did Silverbolt dirty. But anyway, continuing on. Maybe we can talk about this on stream.
Didn't Rhinox turn evil or something?
Yeah, well, okay, I'm going to explain this. So the way it happens is that they're traveling back to Cybertron in the ship. Megatron's attacking it. He falls out of the time stream and ends up getting to Cybertron first. He infects Cybertronians with a virus that prevents them from transforming. He converts all of them into his drones, including Rhinox. And he turns Rhinox, Silverbolt, and Scorponok. Rhinox, Waspinator, and Silverbolt into his lieutenants and just sends them out to like hunt down the Maximals. Anyway, so that whole thing happens. Then they discover that like those lieutenants are the actual guys. So they free them. They free Rhinox. In other words, Rhinox is free of Megatron's control, but he still stays evil. Yeah, and I'm like,
and yes, Dave, I had a lot of the Beast Wars toys as a kid. Those things, like especially like when you get into like the Transmetal era. Oh my God! I had the optimal the Transmetal Optimus Primal. I had
one on the surfboard.
Yeah, that thing was so much fun.
I got the reissue when they basically made that a Transformers Armada toy.
I really want to get some of those reissues. Like I had the Tigerhawk toy. I
had that too.
The Transmetal 3 Optimus. Like, oh my God, that thing was so complicated. It had like 3 different forms. That thing was a pain in the butt to transform.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, so you know what? Maybe we'll end up doing a Beast Wars, Beast Machines era like stream.
Please not Beast really Machines, please no.
All right, we'll just do Beast Wars. We'll do that one. You know what? I think that's a good idea. Let's plan that. So anyway, yeah.
Good thing I have a wait before we go. I gotta. If we're talking about Beast Wars,
Nick is getting his toys again.
Well, not really my toys.
The old man is getting his ancient artifacts.
Well, it's an artifact for sure. Also, let me just. I wasn't planning on going on cam, so my lighting is not the best. But
oh, nice!
The complete series.
Nice. Yep, we're definitely going to do a stream for that. We'll do a stream for that.
Yeah, I have it on DVD, guys. So if you want me to do it, I can do it.
That might actually be a fun rewatch thing. But anyway, so anyway, thank you for watching. Actually, you know what, Nick? Why don't you let the kind people at home know where they can find you and what have you got coming out on your channel?
All right. So in about an hour or so, I will be doing a makeup stream because the last one, like I had an error with the Witcher game and I had to close out the stream. Unfortunately, it was going really great, but and that really pissed me off because you guys are all awesome. It was going great, but something outside of all of our control happened. I'll be playing some Harry Potter Legacy. Just kind of farting around with my save file.
Harry Potter Legacy.
Hogwarts Legacy. Frick off.
Get the name right.
Jared will be there. Cast of the Gravedigger, actually, and Nix will be joining us. So it'll be a cool stream. Just hanging out. I'll show off Hogwarts. Jared can make fun of me for Nick. Can you please go 5 minutes without changing your outfit? Oh, Jared's gonna have a field day with this game. But yeah. I might delay to 8:30 because Steam was like, "Oh, I hear you're going to play Hogwarts Legacy. Let me just make you re-download the entire game because it wasn't validated enough." So I should be ready by 8, but if not, we'll delay to 8:30 for sure. So that'll be cool. And then Tuesday, we're going to be doing our Majora's Mask. Wednesday, releasing Comics Watch. We're talking about Batman and Spider-Man and why people love them. That'll be a good one. And yeah.
All right. So, and as for Comics League, again, next movie night, we're going to be talking about Transformers 2007. Hell yeah. And then for Under Two Capes, we're going to be theorizing. So in the past 2 episodes, we did why Superman doesn't or struggles to sell, why Wonder Woman doesn't sell. Now we're going to talk about why Batman sells as well as he does. So we're kind of continuing on that series.
Oh, nice. It'll be the sequel to Comic Watch. Cool.
Well, yeah. And the past 2 times we did like that idea did like for Under Two Capes did like ridiculously well. So of course I'm going to capitalize on that. So
yeah. So basically, I guess this is Batman. Why characters are important. We're kind of doing a team. Like, okay, this is a 2-part stream. We're going to start on my channel and then on his channel we'll end it.
We'll talk about that off stream.
Yeah.
Anyway, so stay heroic. Remember, Lois Lane is Lois Lane. She belongs to General Zod. Zoe is the Max about for life. See you later.